let's stop this madness. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
What madness?
Yes. Man, that was quick. Look at that.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that.
Almost like you know what you're doing.
I might have written it down when I posted note. Hey, asshole, do this.
Do this. Splatness.
What is up, everybody? What is up, YouTube? Hello, YouTube.
YouTube and Twitch, or are we
Twitch,
not
yeah,
doing? Okay.
on Twitch. Yeah,
Right
I'm an overachiever. That's okay. I shoot for the stars. I land on the grass. You know, it's
Yeah.
one of those.
Sure.
It's called life. All right, shameless plug. Short and sweet. My brother's lures. Go get them. It's fishing time. Go, go, go. They'll be in the description. I'll leave the link in the description. Good sales. He has sales like almost every month. I don't know about August. What would you put a sale up for? School?
And back to school.
My daughter's back to school last Wednesday. So, there you go.
Culpeper's weird, man.
I'll tell you, it is kind of weird. But she was off Friday because of the hurricane, the tropical storm.
Yeah.
Allie's back too. She teaches in Stafford.
Yeah. Warrenton's back this Wednesday, so they're back this Wednesday. Ugh.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I know. It's like now I got to worry about school buses and stuff, and that's extra time. That's extra time in my day.
Well, I get up at 5:30, 5:45, and I leave my house at least by 6 to get to the gym. So even at that time, I still have to worry about buses. I'm like, fuck, man.
Come on, guys. What are we doing?
It's 6 o'clock. Are you kidding me? And they go, and it's in the 55, they go 45, and I understand, but it's like, you know, it's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
This is me bitching, guys. It's me bitching.
Yeah. No, I get it.
All right.
Okay.
The Who. This is the oldest band we've done so far. They're from 64.
Really?
60, yeah.
4, 65?
64, 65. So nobody's been that old except maybe the New York Dolls. That was 72? Or?
That seems right. Seems right.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. The Who.
Whatever. Go listen to that one later.
Yeah, go listen to that. Go find that one. I forget what episode. Like, if you think about it, the Who don't need an introduction. Like,
no,
it is universal what they are. I mean, 40 plus years, 50 plus years, 60 plus years. Tragedy in the band, criminal activity might have happened, but it got swept under the rug a little bit. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. He does. I don't know if you do. We'll talk later. It is not appropriate for this.
No.
It is not appropriate. But
this is a family show, damn it.
This is a family show. But John, you get the first. You ready?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's try. Man, we got like albums from like every decade, 60s, 70s, 80s. No 90s.
Yeah, that's weird.
No 90s. 2000s and 2010s.
You're gonna get like some Britney Spears or Backstreet Boys up in here.
That's paid Patreons. If you want to be a Patreon and pay, you have to pay us to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll just fuck with you guys and make that my next pick.
Whoa.
Whoa, hey, hold on now.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. So this one is Endless. Was it Endless Wire?
Endless Wire.
Endless Wire.
Yeah.
2006.
2006, and I guess I'll take this one.
Yeah, because I think I heard about 3 or 4 songs. The first few, I started listening to it, and
was it just me, or did it suddenly not sound like the Who?
I don't
That's
know.
really-
I don't know because like those first few that I listened to, it sounded like they were trying to be the Who from like the 70s, but with like a modern sound.
Maybe that's why it didn't
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, yeah,
didn't quite sound like them. I don't know.
Like I guess with a more updated kind of sound or whatever. Because I feel like the first track was it Fragments or something that
had the sense of the 80s.
yeah, or like the late 70s and
Yeah.
but yeah, they're trying to like update their style or something. And
I was trying to put the words to it when I heard it, and that's a good. I said the '70s era, but you're right. It is
Mhm.
kind of like you hear bits and pieces of their catalog, which is when you got a big catalog, why not use what worked? I mean, you're coming back out. This is your first album since 82, 81?
82, yeah.
82, which, wow. I mean, congratulations for
good
taking
for
that
you guys.
long. And,
It's got to be freaking great, though.
It does. It
Like, that's the risk you run.
But here's the problem. When you have certain albums from back in the day from them, you try to compare to those, and you're like, oh, it's not comparable. Can we all say Tommy is kind of like their top 2 like albums of the century? You know what I mean? Like, you're comparing something that was a classic, and I think they did okay. I gave it, to be honest, I gave it a 7. I might have been charitable.
Gracious with it.
Very gracious. To me, I felt like the album had a good rock to acoustic. Like the
balance.
The balance was good. I think the balance was there. And I think I'll piggyback on John. It had the era of the 70s and kind of their golden years. You could figure 80s is their golden, 70s were their golden years. They took what they could. And Dalton's voice is still awesome.
It's still awesome. Yeah.
It's still awesome to me. But I gave it a 7. It was just something fresh compared to the previous album. This felt a lot better to me.
Well, when you have when you have 40 years to write it.
That's true.
It
is almost 40. God.
Where are you putting it, man? Where are you putting it?
What do you think, John? Where you want to think?
Again, the 4 songs that I listened to, I feel like it's in the I'd give it a lawnmower.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hey, that's not bad. Let's think about that for a minute. 2006, you started in 64, and it's a lawnmower. A lot of these that are in their 40 year usually doesn't end up in a lawnmower. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was good.
It ends up in dumpster fire.
It can. It can. What did we say C was? I can't remember.
Meh.
Look at you two. Meh. A lot of them end up in meh. It really does. So that's not bad. I can appreciate the album. So
yeah.
We can go from there.
We'll go from there.
I feel like we need like music in the background.
Yeah, we got to figure out something.
Yeah, get like some of the Who.
Yeah.
You can't. So you can't use their music or publishing music. You have to get a DMCA music, which the band is like, you can use our music for anything. If not, you have to pay, and you get copyright striked. So actually, you get taken down. 3 strikes.
Yeah, and we certainly don't need that. Not that we get paid for this thing, but
What is this? The quick one? Yeah,
The
it's a
quick
quick
one?
one. Shannon, you want this one?
I will take. That's the 1966. So this album was wildly uneven.
Ah,
That's
That's a good way.
statement.
wildly uneven. Cobwebs and Strange
Mhm.
was strange. But I also kind of dug it. I was kind of like, okay, all right.
And no, did you dig it for the same? Did you dig it for the same reason I did? That like
Maybe.
that could totally be like in a Disney movie, like an animated Disney movie.
Yes, 100%. Pixar, are you listening?
That was the first thing I thought. Like when I heard that, like Cobwebs and Strange, I was like, this could be in any pick your animated Disney movie, and it's in there. It fits just like a glove.
Maybe like Coraline or something.
I thought the album was like really boring, really boring compared to my generation. To that, it was. I gave it a 4.
So I gave it average. I gave it 5 out of 10. And I think it's just because I was intrigued by, like, even though it was uneven and it was weird, I was just intrigued that they were doing something.
Yeah,
It is the 60s.
Yeah, well, I gave it a 5 as well. I really liked the bass on Boris the Spider.
Right, very bass heavy. Like
That was
a lot of
very
bass.
like. It was very like I mean it was like right up front and it was just there and I thought that was amazing.
Have you ever seen the bass player play?
Besides Runyon?
Have you ever seen this bass player play?
No.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's a treat because he is. You think Pete Townsend is and Keith Moon, the bass player Whistle, I think his name Whistle, John
and Whistle. And Whistle, yeah.
His playing is so 4-finger drive, like you're talking Primus before Primus. Like it was ahead of its time, and he was so good. It was really, being with this album, I feel like it kind of gets swept up into the British invasion when a lot of the 60s bands were coming out from Britain. They all were kind of lumped, the Stones, the Floyd, them. They needed a niche to kind of separate themselves, and I feel like they didn't have. My generation had it to a certain extent, but this one did not have it.
Yeah. I also kind of like, as the 9-minute song, a quick one, could have been 3 separate songs.
Yes, could have. Which is impressive, being 9 minutes. For being its time, it was quite impressive.
And I feel like I heard a little bit of the Doors, like kind of influence in there a little bit, and I swear I heard a little bit of "I Walk the Line" from Johnny Cash near the end.
You probably did.
Ooh.
Yeah, you probably could have. I mean, what's funny is the Who new album from 2019, their first song talks about people ripping them off, but he talks about ripping other people off back in his day. That wouldn't surprise me if he did. Because you couldn't tell. Johnny Cash was only famous in America. British people didn't know who the hell he was. You could take whatever you wanted and nobody would have known. Nobody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I was like, that just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about
it. It was there. There's something about it that I was like, yeah, okay.
Where is the quick one going, Shannon?
Meh.
I was going to put it there, but with having a 4 and 2 5s, I didn't know if it kind of hit the dumpster fire. But it's
not.
Unlistenable. I feel like Dumpster Fire is unlistenable.
It was very unlistenable. For me, it was
know.
very unlistenable.
Oh,
Maybe that's why I influenced a little bit. I hear you.
I don't know.
I'll give you meh. I'll give you the meh. I
eh.
meh.
You
Let's
put it on, am I
see.
gonna rage? No.
No.
Am I gonna listen that closely to it? Also, probably no.
It was a lot of ideas. I feel like was thrown in a pot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was too many cooks in the kitchen type of thing to me. But
Yeah.
talking about probably the worst one that I didn't care about is this one.
Is this by the numbers?
By the
Yeah.
By the
numbers.
numbers?
Oh, holy crap! Like I had to read the Wikipedia on this to figure out what the hell happened. And it makes sense. This is where the band was pretty much exploded internally. Everybody was doing side projects. Nobody wanted to be in the studio, and it showed so badly. I gave this one a 4 also. It was
I also gave this a 4.
Wow.
well, so let's compare the last two, which to me the last two were good quality albums. Quadafina, was it Quadafina? And Tommy.
Yeah.
Quadrophenia.
Quadafina and Tommy. I thought those two albums were great. I won't give you the rating, but they were great. This was a very let down type of album. It was like, what is this? Squeezebox was a good song.
It's a country song.
That's it.
It's a
That's all it
country
was.
song for sure. Yeah.
And the
Not a
album,
fan.
and the album felt disconnected. Like
Definitely
very,
disconnected.
I would like to hear your two. It sounds like you're agreeing with me on a lot of this.
I felt like, and obviously we know I don't do music, but I felt like all of the instrumentals in this album were way simple. Like
They were a very
kind of
simple
like
band.
I mean they were, but there was something about this album like that made me think about it. That made me go, could you do
Well-
something a little like this? Seems really basic.
This is where Pete Townsend and Keith Moon were heavy into their drugs and drinking. And Pete Townsend had a mental breakdown where he thought he was not a good artist. He was getting too old or something like that. It was kind of weird. And like Keith Moon couldn't even keep a simple beat. Like it was getting to that point in their career, which is crazy when you go from Tommy, Quadafina, to this. And it's like your directory should at least kept on either plateaued or went up.
I would like to clarify real quick. You keep saying Tommy, then Quadrophenia,
Yeah.
but I have Tommy, who's next, and then Quadrophenia.
Yeah,
You're right. Okay.
But I would like just clarification of what
Okay,
we're
okay,
talking
sorry.
about here.
Even take those three. Take those three. What in the hell is this album? Like, this is Mickey Mouse shit. This is demo type of playing where you're trying to figure out to make it better. This is
Agree.
like they just threw a demo and it's like, that's good enough.
That's good enough for me. Yeah. That's
Oh,
just,
dude.
yeah.
I will tell you this much. This is by far, to me, their worst album. By far. I didn't like A Quiet One, but I could at least appreciate that one a lot more. Because it's their second album. They're still trying to figure out stuff. They're still building sounds and building this and kind of working their way into the 70s. You're 6 albums deep. Come on, man. This is bullshit. If I was a Who fan, I would be pissed. I would be super pissed if they came out and be like, what in...
JM, what did you rate it?
I rated it a 4.
Yeah.
Did
This
We're
is their
starting
Saint
to-
Anger.
Man, I wish it was Saint Anger.
I was gonna say Saint Anger's much better than this one. It's pretty awful.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the Who fan. This is me being real. I'm being real with you guys. Prove me wrong. Leave a comment telling me why that album's awesome, and you cannot do it. You probably give it a 6 because you're a Who album, a Who fan. That's the only reason. And you're being spiteful. You're lying to yourself.
Yep, you're trying to internet troll the internet.
Yeah.
Internet troll the internet.
Ooh, this is it's hard.
It's hard.
Who wants to take this one?
Not me.
Well, it's hard to rate. It's hard. Man.
I gave
Although-
okay, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I gave it like a 6.5, I think.
Dude, that's what I did. 6,
Um,
6.5.
I did a straight 6.
It
But-
has one of my favorite songs of the Who on there.
Eminence Front.
Eminence Front.
Eminence, yes. It's the
I
top
love that
3
song.
of their songs.
Yep. I don't
That is
know. I don't know what it is. I listened to it and then I listened to the live version that was like near the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good song.
That's good stuff. For the longest time, whenever it would come on the radio, I'm like, oh man, this song is so cool. What is it? And then I have to like Shazam it, and then it's like, oh, it's the Who, Eminence Front. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's awesome. I got to write that down and remember that. And
I think it confuses you because it's Pete Townsend singing, and he has those songs
Yes.
he sings, and you're like, well, that's not Roger Daltrey.
Oh,
is it
whoops.
Dalton?
Daltrey, Roger Daltrey. Yeah.
Roger Daltrey, and it was just like, oh, it's Pete Townsend. Which
Okay,
in his right, he's a pretty good singer too.
yeah, no,
I
it's
do.
nothing.
And we should talk about the comparison with Roger Daltrey. In him, it's kind of that yin and yang that can work together because it's different dynamic. I do like that type of band. You know what I mean? The Eagles
Yeah.
kind of have that with Joe Walsh and Glenn Fry, but you got a problem with Glenn Fry and the drummer, whatever his name is, have the same type of voice. So that's why I like the Who a little bit too. So I did say you can tell definitely it's an 80s album with the synths.
Yeah.
Too heavy on the synths.
It's 80, but it still had like a 70s hard rock feel to it.
It does. It's a step up from Faces.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is what they probably should have came out after Keith Moon died.
Yeah.
Who Are You? That should have been the one after. Never mind.
Well, no.
I just realized something. Like, go ahead. Yeah.
No, Keith Moon died 3 weeks after Who Are You came out.
Sad.
So,
And you can tell the band. I hate to say one person made the band, but he's at least half of it. How he played, very, very
he's wild,
unique,
man.
very wild, but a very unique way to play certain parts.
Mhm.
Which to me, I would say he's a systematic chaos. He's very systematic what he does, but
It's very chaotic. Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to play on certain rhythms. And I think that's the charm that the Who's kind of lacking in its own way.
Yeah.
How do you play a part like that?
Yep. Yeah, it's
Michael
like he
Bublé
had.
does pretty good. He does a
He
good job
does.
of it.
Yeah, Keith Moon had his own little box of tricks, his little toolbox, if you will. Because I noticed, like, especially, well, we'll get into it whenever we hit Who Are You, but
Okay, gotcha. Album. I also said album as a way to go into different sounds of the career. I felt like they kind of pulled a couple of the tricks from the '70s and like kind of put it in there. Which you figure this is the last album before Endless, you know. So,
It was. I felt like it was like 50-50. Like they felt like they were more energized,
sure.
but it's still easily half the songs were really boring.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
It is. I will say this much. Besides 3 albums, a lot of their albums are like that, where I feel like they kind of get into the Clash type of way, where you have the hits, what's
And that's it.
next, throwaways,
Filler.
you know.
Yeah.
Side note, Megadeth's on tour, right?
Yes, they are.
I looked at their set list. It's the same fucking set list from 20 years ago. Ain't no different. Maybe 1 or 2 songs were added in from the new albums, but I'm like, oh, well, there's Peace Cells. There's, you know, Holy Wars.
There's you know, Train of Consequences or whatever. And...
Oh, you knew.
Oh, wait, here, where's Sweating Bullets at? Oh, there it is.
Sweating Bullets, you know, it's just like...
Mechanics are in there. And,
that was Encore. That was the Encore's Mechanics. They threw in a song. The reason I say this, they threw in a song they haven't played in 20 years. It's called Liar from So Far, So Good, So What. I was like, that's what drew me to the conversation of it. I looked, I was like, that's the same fucking set list from like 20 years ago. Like, I feel like the Who kind of goes in that way too. So, who wants to rate it?
Get out of here.
Is this a meh?
Yeah.
Just a meh?
I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, it's borderline for me, like Lawnmower meh.
Okay. We'll go Lawnmower. We'll throw it in Lawnmower. We'll do that.
Dude, what are you doing back there?
Are you cat?
Yeah. Theo, seriously, bro? Guy. Get out.
Are you making an appearance?
Christ, man. Theo. Dude, what are you, come on, man. This is what we get for letting you roam around a little bit.
Taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Oh, is this who's next? Who's next?
There you go. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Who wants this one?
I freaking loved this album.
Me too.
I enjoyed it immensely. I gave it an 8.5.
I gave it a 9.
9.
I like.
9.
Man,
there's no filler.
Being a little harsh with my. I was being harsh with my.
Oh, just wait.
My
brother.
ratings. Jesus
Just
Christ, man.
wait.
Give it time.
Just wait. Just wait.
Okay.
Yeah, there was so much energy in this album. There's no filler. Every single song is amazing. Obviously, Behind Blue Eyes, like, come on. But also, Baba O'Reilly was
Oh yeah, that's
surprising for me because I didn't remember. Like, I don't know that I guess not, because I was like, the chords, the rhythm, the synth, all of it worked together. It made sense.
That's like one of their biggest hits.
It is.
I didn't know that was them.
Don't
I was
get
like-
fooled again.
I straight up, okay, this is embarrassing. I'm going to share with you and our one fan who's downstairs crying probably.
Hi, one fan.
there were so many, like, I had to look up. I Googled it. I was like, is this a cover? Did they cover this song?
You had the moment of, me, I've heard this song.
I've heard this. This was the Who?
I bet you had a lot of moments like that, and I did too. I had
I
one,
did.
the one that's John's favorite. I was like, man, they played this song? I was like, oh, no way. I didn't know. The Entis, whatever, which one? I didn't know that.
Eminence Front.
Eminence Front. I didn't know that one either. So I'm with you. Only one. Remember that.
I said I like just the like the two the first two tracks and the last two as bookends to the album was
Oh,
just
perfect.
genius track like track listing. Like
It was.
It was perfect.
I can at least say that. How do you follow up?
How do you follow up?
Classic from Tommy? And
Mhm.
you pulled that out. They I don't know how they did it, but they took something. Either they had those stored from the road, and like, what pressure to follow
Right.
up Tommy, a classic, and you pull that out. Like,
Yep.
think about it. I can't think of another band like that. You always go, and then you start going down. It's the way of life. It's just a lot of bands don't keep directory, and it's unreal. I couldn't believe it. I liked it. That's my favorite album from them.
I would
Same.
say
Yeah.
if there is a person on the planet that does not know who the Who is, this is the album that you
Yep.
say, here you go.
Here you go. Yeah.
Dude,
Yep.
that's. Well, you know what's funny is that when you listen to the Who, you have three different ones. You got
You
the
do.
60s, 70s, and 80s, and quintessential like Who. If you did not like the Who, shame on you, because
Yeah.
this album, like, I don't care what type of fan you were up to that point. Man, I wish I had a band that would come out with something like that right after. Think about, all right, Metallica did come out with Master to Injustice
Justice for all, sure.
to Black. Spoilers, Tommy, this one, and the next one, like, are their major three. But I feel like with these three, it was just like, wow, you just kept going with,
Took it for a ride.
success. But
Yeah.
you kind of can feel that with this album, when you listen to it in order, you're like, oh, that's your golden time. That's where you shot your dream, and this is the best you're going to get. And
Yep.
now
You're at the peak.
You're
You're at
peaking
your
with this
peak.
album.
Yep.
And everybody thought Tommy was the peak,
Yeah.
So I could be
And-
shredding. I don't care. I
No,
believe
it's
it believes there.
it definitely
No.
lives there. Also, this is that's the Who's sound. Like that album, that's what they sound like.
Yeah. I didn't put
And
much thought into like talking about it either. Like, it was so simple. Like, this is the album. Everything you want, this is it.
And the production was really good too, I thought.
Oh man, dude, it was
Just like everything just sounded good.
equal.
And I don't know if it's because I listened to the remastered version.
I was about to ask, is that a remastered thing? Because I also listened to the remastered.
It probably was. And
I mean, if I really wanted to be authentic, I could probably go to like, Mom's Records and
I was about to say, I'd
Really
be
has it.
surprised if Mom doesn't have this. Although your daughter might have stolen them.
that is fair to say because she is a vinyl thief.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thief, though.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Well, when it's working for you, not against you.
Yeah, right.
Speaking,
Tommy. I mean,
what can you say? What can you say?
This is
I did not like this album.
really. Why didn't you like it?
I didn't think it was interesting. It has Pinball Wizard on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's forgettable.
Wow.
Wow. Well, is it?
I'm guessing you gave it a 5, 4.
Whoa.
What did you give it, John?
I gave it a 4, and all 4 of those points are for Pinball Wizard.
I give it a 9.
I
I
give
give
it
it
an
a 9.
8.5. Do we feel like we gave it a high because it is a classic? Why did you give it a 9?
Why I gave it a 9 because just like again the whole like you can get the singles off of it, but this is one that you have to put the time like you have to like you have to go all the way to get the full like the story.
Yep. The first
That,
concept
that,
album.
it kind of half-baked at best.
It's a concept album about Tommy, about how he's blind and his parents didn't like it, and he was nothing in his life, and then he figured out he could play pinball right, and then they gave him the chance of fixing his sight, and then he didn't want it.
Because it was
that's two of your songs. What's the rest of the album?
the rest of the album is him in the amazing journey.
Yes, The Amazing Journey.
Where because he saw the thing when he was a little kid, and they're like, no, you didn't see anything, you didn't hear anything, you're not going to talk about this. And so that like just made him go inside of himself, you know.
Yeah.
And then
okay, I will tell you why this is at least a 7 for you. Maybe a 6 to 7, and I can prove it to you, Shannon. I can prove it. You ready? When you listen to My Generation, Quick One, and The Who Sell Out, you have to say this album was a starting point for the band of the sound in some way. The whole British invasion part of them were gone. When this came out, you knew it was the 70s as soon as you heard it. This was a new band.
Yeah.
But
The story part didn't interest you.
it wasn't that it wasn't interesting. It's just that it's 3 songs. It's whatever came before Pinball Wizard, whatever's after. That's the story. That's all of the story. There's nothing. Everything else is like filler.
Do you listen to Dream Theater?
Yes.
Did you ever listen to Memories album, Scenes from a Memory? You ever listen to that album?
Probably.
So it's a story. The whole album's a story. A lot of people don't like that type of albums because they're like, I just want to listen to certain songs. But sometimes those albums need to be collectively immersed in it. I feel like I'm not trying to sway your 4. I believe in your 4.
I think that's exactly what you're trying to do, but keep going.
I think that me and John gave it such a high number, is because we are in that vein of Transatlantic, which is a cool band, Dream Theater, Rush, story albums. We like to have that story. And
Story. I love story.
Coheed is a story.
Actually have one.
It is a
Actually
story.
tell it.
Have you ever seen the movie, Tommy?
It's different from the album, though. They did kind of they switched some things around.
Tommy
It's
is
like-
a musical on Broadway. I mean, I can't deny that. Like, it's a musical on Broadway. It's pretty awesome. Do you know another band that can do that? I know.
Have a musical on Broadway?
From a band. A band album as a musical. It's been on Broadway for 20
Oh, because I was
years.
gonna say Mamma Mia is all ABBA songs. So like what?
Look at ABBA. Hey, that's a great way of putting it too. That's a musical and everything. I gave it an 8. You gave it a 9. Is that your highest rating album? Is a 9? Is that the highest one?
That's the highest one. Yeah.
Wow. You gave it a 4. Can well,
I don't get it.
I'll give it a yeah. I'll give
It's
it a
definitely yeah.
I'll give it a yeah. It's not shredding because we don't agree to it. Give it a yeah.
It's a high. It's a high yeah. It's a high.
I
Yeah.
acknowledge your yeah. I disagree,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna fight
All
you on
right,
it.
fine.
I'm not gonna fight you on it. I said my piece. I don't think it's a concept album in the way that a concept album is actually a
It-
concept album.
It is. So
It's partial. They're like,
classified-
hey, we've got this
it's-
idea. Let's write some songs about it. But
It's
some of them
actually-
don't work, but we're gonna do it anyway.
It's actually classified as a rock opera. That's
Yes,
what.
it is.
That's what
Yeah.
it is classified as.
As soon as you hear it, you kind of understand the rest of the years. You're like, okay, they started with this one.
Yep.
I mean, you go from The Who Sells Out, which is now. This is the
Yep.
album, The Who Sells Out. I gave it a 5. I did not like this album at all.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah, I gave this one a 5. It was a funny album.
It was,
Yeah,
and
it
so.
sounded-
What the hell?
It was so fun. Oh my gosh. I had a great time with this album.
So here's the thing. I said like I gave it a 4 because it was just I didn't. It was super fucking weird. But I said
I
it's
liked
either it's either genius for putting the commercials and everything in there, or it's just really fucking weird. And I'm leaning
That's
towards
that
it's
British
kind of
humor.
yeah. I know.
British humor we don't
Yeah.
understand. I think you understand it.
I
We don't.
I do because I
it-
grew up watching.
I was
all
about
that.
to say it. I feel like maybe I've been hanging out with Papa too much.
They have
Yeah.
one good song on that album for Miles. Miles
Yeah, and I
Miles,
didn't even know that was them. I was like,
right?
oh shit, that's the Who. That's cool.
Yeah. Did you listen to the bonus parts on that album where they did like Batman? And like,
Yes,
they
I
did-
love that.
Yes.
That was actually really good.
I laughed. I wasn't supposed to listen to that because it's bonus tracks. I'm not listening to that. But
I did
I
the same. I was
do.
like, I shouldn't listen to that, but it was.
they got a lot
I
of
had
trouble
to.
for this album. They got a lot of trouble
Yeah.
because copyright infringements. They didn't understand that when they made it. So they had to give some of the proceeds to this company in Texas for the baked beans. And the D-
Interesting. Like for for the songs or because they're
Yeah.
it's on their album.
It's on their album. So it's kind of like YouTube. I can't use any music that's copyrighted unless I get permission. Or they say everybody can use it on a
Right.
message everybody can see. So I gave it a 5. Meh? A high meh?
It's,
A low
yeah.
lawnmower? A low lawnmower? Is that fair?
I think that's fair.
A
I'll
low
allow
lawnmower.
it. Low
Low
lawnmower.
lawnmower. Low
Yeah, that-
lawnmower.
That Batman was on the on the quick one was
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was this one. My bad.
no,
I was like-
yeah, no.
That's when they did covers. There were certain covers
Yep.
on that album. Yeah. Because it was a bitch to delete them. I'm like, God, I just want to listen to the album.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
But
I did listen to Hall of the Mountain King too, just because that's a cool like classic thing, and I had to stop listening to it because they might have been on drugs or something at that point.
Might
They
have.
were. I think Pete Townsend and Keith Moon. That was. Hey, the bass player died from overdose. So too much cocaine. His heart stopped. They had cocaine in the system. You know how that goes.
Yeah. Yep. Hey.
Crash and burn, my friend. Crash and burn.
Yeah.
Ooh, Quadrophenia.
Quadrophenia. Apparently they made this, and this was made into a movie too.
That's
Really?
right. All right, who wants it?
I was kind of like, oh wow, this is a double album. Okay.
I didn't
Interesting.
know that until today. Like I listened to it like last week, and I didn't realize it until today.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull a Dream Theater reference here real quick. I could see like the Octavarium influence
Okay,
was influenced by this album.
Oh, I didn't put that together. I got to listen back to it.
Yeah, there's just something I was like, okay, I can see where Mr. Portnoy was definitely influenced by the Who on this one. And I was like, I didn't know if this was kind of like another concept album, but it seemed like they would have like some themes and parts kind of come back throughout.
This is a better concept album than Tommy was.
What's the concept?
This is far more cohesive.
I think they figured out because the other one was a rock opera. This one was a concept. So there's a difference. So
Okay, explain to me the difference.
Rock opera is a story with the music all blended together in one story. A concept album is different topics of the same concept.
Okay.
Did I say that right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You have a subject and you write different songs of that subject. The rock opera is, think of opening a book and you're just going chapter to chapter. So you're going through the years with him about his childhood, his adulthood. This is just, okay, concept is this. Okay, we'll talk about this and this and this and this, you know. Which is funny because I love their concept albums, but this one didn't seem like a concept album to me. It didn't seem like
I mean, they definitely had some filler songs in there. It could have benefited from cutting some of the extras and like.
I gave it an 8. I thought it was good. For After Who's Next is not. It's.
I didn't know whether to give it an 8 or a 9, so I went 8.5.
Okay.
I love this album.
I do too.
I thought it was great. The Real Me, the bass in that song is freaking like incredible. So good. So good.
I say Entwistle, man, that dude can.
He's a good bass player. He doesn't get enough credit like out there because you get overshadowed by Pete Townsend and Keith Moon. You know what I mean? You get thrown to the fucking side. It's like, dude, even Daltrey overshadowed the bass because of his voice, you know. And
he's like 5'2" or something. So
yeah. What
I also feel like for me to notice a bass, like you gotta like you are absolutely incredible for me to be like, oh dang, that bass is real good.
That's when they knew how to mix it.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it. Because I feel like I don't really notice stuff like that.
A lot of later bands in life don't know how to mix bass into the band, or they overshadow it. You know.
Yeah, it's like it's way back in the mix.
It is. They did not like even later in their careers was really heavy bass. Even the 2006 one, I was like, God, it's just heavy. Like you could hear his fingers. Like it was that much. I was like, wow, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the 515. That was just a good.
Oh, that was
Love Rang Over Me is like their top 3. Like their last song, that's a classic. You, like everybody knows that song. It's a killer, like ending, heart-wrenching fucking song to me. It really is. It pulls on the heartstrings a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. I wrote this some songs work great, but others not so much. But yet I gave this album an 8.
But that's similar to what I said, right? Like there's filler in there. There's a bit of filler.
Dr. Jimmy, Bellboy, like, but there's good songs, you know, in it.
If they cut this to maybe like a dozen songs, incredible.
Well, incredible. I feel like the filler is some, like you hear the C, that's like a minute long. It's the prelude into the song. It's not a song. It's just an intro song, which you could say some of them is a minute and a half. It's not really a song, but
it's an intro or an outro, whatever.
Sure. I do like this album more than Tommy.
Yeah, you do.
I do, because what do you feel about that, John?
I'm fine with it.
Okay. I just feel like Tommy was great. I give this album more credit for coming after Who's Next, and you made a good album. It was like, okay, you came down a little bit, but you're still in line with Tommy, which is a classic. Sorry, It is a classic. Everybody says it's a classic. I have to say it's a classic.
It's
Just
I mean,
because it's a classic
lives
doesn't mean
up-
it's good.
it lives up to the hype. I'm gonna
Just
say
because
it.
it's supposed to do something doesn't mean it's good.
I think it lives up to the hype. So, but now I was trying to find where the movie was, and of course I'm not, you know,
Well,
because I kind of want to watch it now. So just to see how different they made it.
Watch it. VH1 used to show that all the time. I remember that was shown like every weekend. It felt like. Oh, the latest from 2019, self-titled. Ooh.
It only took them 50 years to have a self-titled.
How cheeky.
I mean, they kind of played with the throwing their name in there, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's next?
I gave this a 6. Daltrey's voice still good, even after 50.
I was about to say, he's how old now?
He's
in his 70s, I'm sure.
He was probably 70, high 70s. I did say this in a quote that I felt kind of proud that I said it. If I was a journalist and I quoted this album, I would say, if I was a Who fan, I would like the album. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what this album is. It's for the fans. It really is. You're not trying to reinvent yourself. You already have a structure in your songs, right? And this is 13 years after, Endless Wire.
Endless Wire.
So, like, you have this huge gap there, too. And I think this is where the bass player died in between that two. And they probably pushed it away and said, well, we just did an album. Let's make that the last one, But the drums sound really good on the album. I thought that was the best sounding of the drums ever, to be honest. I thought they sounded great.
Was it a different drummer than?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was 81 and the 2 albums in the 80s was a guy named Kenny Jones, I think.
Yes. I don't know who drummed this one, but
and I think they have like a touring drummer or something that he might have.
I'm going to give this a meh, to be honest. I'll give it a meh. It's not a dumpster fire. I will say, quiet. It's above a quiet one. Yeah, I'll give it a meh. It was okay. I like the Endless Wire a lot better than this one. I feel like Endless, I really could just sit there with the headphones and just go through my day. This one, you kind of had to pick and choose. You're like, this sounds to this, and
skip that song. Don't need to hear that again.
Song. I tried not skipping songs, but when I hit, it's hard. It really kind of started the skipping a little bit.
Well, and on replays, skipping is acceptable.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta go for not skipping on the first listen through to really feel it.
I like the cereal, but I gotta take a couple more bites of it. Gotta take a couple more bites of it. I ate a whole box of Lucky Charms like in 2 days. It was awesome.
This Kool-Aid tastes funny. Let me drink some more.
Let me drink some more of it.
Ooh, My Generation. Shannon, I want you to do this one. Please and
the first one?
Please and thank you. And this one is from
Okay.
1965.
65. So,
Yep.
La 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 Lies was poppy AF. I dug it. It was a bit repetitive and like it did kind of start to get to like, okay, guys, I do get it. I understand.
I can,
But I love you some pop songs, right?
Sure.
Much Too Much felt incomplete to me. Like I'm not sure what it was about that song. It felt like they didn't finish it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys had anything about that.
No,
And
I didn't
then
have nothing about
my
I
favorite
didn't have it.
song on there, I'm a Man, was just bluesy and amazing.
You said the magic word.
Bluesy,
Yep.
Bluesy.
Yep.
bluesy.
That's I said it's very bluesy, and I
What a
said
pop
you can.
to a blues. Like it was kind of that
Yeah.
switch and switch. For being the first album, you can do that. It's
Yep.
like that kind
Yeah.
of that British invasion. It kind of makes you distinctive a lot. And they had Bo Diddley on, I believe, this album too.
Oh,
They
I'd have to look
had
at
a
the track
blues
listings
player.
again.
I think they had a blues player.
Well, let's see what the old Wikipedia has to say.
Look it up. Look it up. What's it say?
I'm looking. Sorry, Burke. I swear that was.
Yeah. Come on.
I swear he was on one of them. Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley. I'm a Man. I was right. Writer Bo Diddley. Told you. Because I had to look it up because it was so heavily blues. I'm like, man, this is really awesome. I was very taken by it.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that this was the Who. Like this, because like you said, there's like kind of three distinctive Who sounds, and this was not one that I was familiar with at all.
Yeah.
I was digging it.
I really enjoyed the Ox. I said that was a surprising gem.
Yes. Yeah.
The way to end the official studio album there.
I think that was the perfect song to end this album on. Yeah.
It was just really, it was really cool. I was like, oh.
I also wrote It's Not True. I wrote that song down because I wrote down It's Not True, I Am a Man, in the Ox. The guitar tone was way ahead of its time. I believe that he brought something to the table where nobody else was doing it, and it kind of gave him a leg up on it. I believe Pete Townsend did. I in that album, I was like, wow, being a 65, and he had that kind of distortion reverb. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool, for everybody playing so clean, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sounds in them.
Yep.
I gave it a 7. I really enjoyed this album. I really did.
What are you looking at me for?
Because you went.
Let me guess. You gave it a 6, Shannon. You gave it a 6, and John, you gave it a 6.5.
It's pretty close, yeah. I gave it a 6.
What did you give it?
I also gave it a 6.
Dog it.
I also gave it a 6.
I feel like this album is better than The Who Sells Out. I really do.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like it's better. I think it's better than It's Hard, too.
I want to disagree with you solely on the fact that I rated The Who Sells Out better, like higher.
Okay.
But I have more like, I really like these things about this album versus Maybe I was just in a really good mood with the Who Sell Out. I was like, this is hilarious and
It can
great.
change. It can change your out. I mean, it really can, because it's whatever day it was. You know, how did I feel that day? That's why a lot of these people reviewing albums have to get it in advance, because they have to take a 2-week process and be like, what did I rate this day to the end? And it's, you know, for me, I listened to, when I got up to by numbers, that's where I only listened to it one time. So when I listened to the Who Sell Out, I listened to it twice. Originally, I gave it a 3. Then I changed it to a 5. And I was like, when you went from Generation to a quick one, I'm like, okay, you slipped. Hey, it happens. It happens. You just gotta, what you did, come back. I think it's better than It's Hard and Sell Out. I personally think It's Hard is a lot higher than I thought. So, but who had this album?
I don't even know. Did Shannon have it? I think
Was it
Shannon
me?
had
I
it.
feel
I
like
think
it
it was you.
Yeah.
Where do you want to put it?
I
Be bold.
kind of, well, this is not being bold. I mean, it's gonna go in lawnmower.
Okay. Bold.
The question is,
Where at?
where am I putting it?
That's a lot of music to listen to on the lawnmower. What starting point on the lawnmower would you want to listen to it? That's a good reference.
I feel
If you were to ride a lawnmower, where would you start with? What album would you start?
all right. Hold on. What's the middle? What's the middle album there? I'll
That's
look.
It's Hard.
It's
It's
That
Hard.
one's
hard.
It's Hard.
Yep. Yep.
Sell Out, and then you have Endless.
Endless
Because
Fire.
I think it's definitely better than It's Hard.
Okay. Okay. So we'll
What's-
stick it here.
All right. And
In
then what's
between Endless and It's Hard.
Endless? I'll allow it.
You
I'll
allow
allow
it? Okay.
I'll allow it.
All right.
I'll
Hear
allow
that, people? She will allow
She
it.
will.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Oh, we're only down to 2? Holy
2.
smoke.
That's right.
Wow.
Dang,
No
we're
BS
booking
tonight,
tonight.
people. Because I didn't
We're-
take 15 minutes to figure out how to start this video. I did my job. I probably screwed it
Hooray.
up. Well, I probably screwed it up and
Hey.
gonna record it again tomorrow. Is this Faces? Yeah, Faces. Oh, no. Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you? I'll take this one.
All right.
I'll take this one. I gave it a 5. I think they went too heavy on the synths on this album.
I agree.
Way too much. It needs to be sprinkled. It needs your.
It felt like it was nothing but sin. I think our one fan is here.
Does he have a? Do they have?
Does he have
shirt
something to
on?
say?
Yeah. Pizza sucks.
What do you think?
Hey, there he is.
Hey, Bubba. Hi. Delete.
No, right away. Yeah, he's just like,
Delete.
keyboard.
Delete.
Let me,
They went too heavy on the synths. I
Yeah.
feel like they lost. They took what was good and they ran too much with it in this one, where they need to sprinkle in stuff like that. And Who Are You? That's a top 3 song for me too.
Yeah.
Like that's a top. That
Uh-huh.
is
That's up
that
there.
is that is what that whole album should have been. That is exactly how the album should have been. It
Yeah,
should have been, the mixture of it.
I had that thought through a lot of them, where it's like, okay, you have a song like Who Are You, right? Or in the It's Hard, in the case of like Eminence Front, you have this really great song, and the rest of the album is like, what are we doing here?
Mm.
Yeah.
How did you get that one gem, and then the rest of it is
They
just
came out
garbage?
with a lot back to back. Is this? I know one of the times that we were on here, you were talking about like studio commitment or
Right,
whatever,
record,
and like having to
tour.
like get albums out and stuff. Could this have been one of those things?
Well, funny enough, this album is the last album with Keith Moon. And when he showed up to the studio, he was a disaster.
Mm.
I think Pete Townsend was a disaster during this recording. Drugs, alcohol. Go ahead.
No, I know, like, because I remember I said we were going to come to this, because you know how, like, John Bonham, there's the Bonham triplet, right? Like, there's a left, right kick, or left, right kick, however you want to do it.
Everybody knows that. Yeah.
The triplet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The John Bonham triplet.
That's right.
There was what I heard a lot through this album is what I call the Keith Moon fill. Yeah, the like 8-stroke roll, or like a 6-stroke. It was all throughout. And I just was like, I mean, okay, I get it, but you've done it like 17 times already, and we're only in like the 4th song, you know?
No hi-hats.
No, this was the one where he just had the crashes in the ride.
The ride, that was it. Funny story behind the cover of the album.
Oh, with him sitting
in the chair.
In the chair. There's what is written? Not to be taken away.
Not to be taken away. So that was kind of a foreshadowing. But do you know why he turned the chair backwards? Because he was so disgusting. The photographer said his stomach was so disgusting, he was hiding his stomach because all the alcohol and his not taking care of himself, that's what they had to do.
That's so sad.
Dude, Keith Moon was on the brink of just alcoholism to death, that he couldn't even keep a 4-4 time. And they're like, can you do this? And classic Keith Moon, I'm Keith Moon. I'm the only one that can freaking do it. And he got away with it. Alice Cooper, I will quote Alice Cooper, almost 10%, almost everything you hear about Alice Cooper, 10% is real, everything is fake.
Okay.
Everything about Keith Moon is 90% real. And Alice Cooper backed it up too. He's like, everything you heard about him is fairly true. The drugs, the alcohol, dressing in a French maid outfit for a week at his house. He didn't do that at Alice Cooper's house. The guy was nuts. He was nuts. And
maybe that's what the song "Man in a Purple Dress" was about. On Endless Wire.
No, I never thought that. But I think you understand the chemistry of the band, where he was this ticking time bomb, but you had structure in the front. That's what made The Who work. You had structure, but Keith Moon was...
Yeah.
That's the controlled chaos. And personally, Who Are You is maybe a little bit better than Quiet One.
Yeah,
me,
I just I don't know. I guess maybe
I'd put it
a little
below
bit
Quiet
higher.
One.
You know what? I can believe that. I will do that. Which is sad, because you go from Tommy.
And who's next? Quadrophenia.
So you went this, up, down. So you have a good 1, 2, 3. Then by the numbers. And Who Are You? And it's just like, what happened? And let's get to the last album, Faces, Dances. This is by far their worst album. by far. To me, it is better than By the Numbers by one. I gave it a 3.
Hold on, I have
Spoilers. I wrote nothing memorable about the album except You Better and You.
Yeah.
You Better and the song You.
Yeah.
You is a great song, should have been the basis of the album. That song alone, that should have been your overall sound and commitment of the album. But there again, you can tell Keith Moon's not there. You can just tell. You can tell by the structure of everything.
And that dude had a lot of. I mean, he had big shoes to fill.
Poor guy. Oh.
It's like Jason Newsted walking into Metallica after Cliff Burton.
Yeah, I hear you. What did you guys give it? I gave it a 3.
I gave it a random 6 just because I didn't really know.
Sure.
I mean, it was. There's nothing like you said other than You Better You Bet and You. There's really nothing memorable of this album.
Yep.
It's average. It's average at best.
I went 4.
Okay.
And literally the only thing I wrote, like You Better You Bet. It's scattered. I didn't really have anything else to say about it because there's really, I feel like there's not much there.
This is where I tried to listen to it, and I pretty much skipped every song within a minute. I really tried. Except You and You Better. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I know these songs, you know.
Yeah, I think that I was like cleaning the pool during this song.
I like random 6. I like that because actually I probably would have done random, like a random 5, but
yeah,
I think for the most part I was cleaning the pool out and just
good job, pool boy.
talking, just carrying on conversations. So this was definitely background.
Can we all agree that the Who is kind of like the Clash, where you have the greatest hits and nothing else? This really solidified that for me.
I feel like well, I guess the Clash didn't have as many albums though.
No.
Half. They had half.
Yeah, because I was gonna. Yeah, but even still, the Who have better overall. I think better albums. So. I think
they are.
I get your comparison, but I think the Who is better than the Clash.
I would say if you're not like a fan of the Who, then stick with the greatest hits.
That's a fair adjustment. I can say that. Especially the Clash, I would say stick to that Live Eternity one I told you guys.
Yep.
That's it. Don't do nothing else. You're just gonna be disappointed.
Yep.
Super.
I mean,
I
greatest
give
hits.
A little bit more credit though. Like give them a little bit more credit. So.
Like I would say that those top 2 tiers, like those 3 albums, if you were going to be like, okay, here's listen to the greatest hits, but for albums, listen to these. Listen to these 3.
You got me at my keyboard. I thought okay, we're good.
Oh, I thought Ridley was gonna like correct me on something.
He's quiet. He's like, you know what? We're out of here.
Take that, Uncle John. We're out of here.
All right, Shannon. Which album do you feel like needs to be changed?
The only one that I wildly disagree with is Tommy, and I feel bad moving it. I don't think it's fair because I would put it down in like low lawnmower or meh, but because you guys like it so much, I'm like, well, that seems like maybe I need to listen to it again.
This is the game. This is the game. This is how you play. Where do you feel like it needs to go?
I just don't think it's fair.
Life's not fair. Deal with it, right?
I would put it in high meh.
High meh.
High meh.
Okay.
High meh.
High meh. John, what would you like to change? What would you like to change? Anything. Anything you want to change? What would you like to change?
Normally I am
Adults
good.
Here. We're adults.
Normally I'm good with the changes. Normally I'm good with the changes. I'm going to have to. I'm putting it right back up. Right back up in here. Putting it right back up in here. That's where it
I
belongs.
tried.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I wasn't gonna do anything anyway, so
Sure.
it ended up working.
I mean, other than to be spiteful, I would have said move who sells out to like dumpster fire.
No.
Just for spite, but I didn't do that. So
Dude,
I-
whoa! Whoa!
It's okay. Oh, we got stuck.
I thought
We got
Okay.
stuck. And it was scary.
I am going to move the sellout to mid. I don't think it's a lawnmower. I don't think it's. I was really let down by the album, so it's going to go right there.
I love it.
I don't think Ridley agrees with you, but you know.
Really, we'll talk later. Tell me in the comments what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, I had
Tell me in
fun.
the
I thought
comments.
it was silly.
You cheeky bastard. It's just a flesh wound. That's all it is.
It's trash.
Your arms off.
Sir Ridley. Oh. All right, guys. That is the list, and we're sticking to
Dig
it.
into it.
Well done. All right. Last
Now
but
the-
not least.
Now the fun part.
These seeds of Fundapots. Yes. All right.
Your fake German accent is terrible.
I am German.
Wow.
Ja, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, no.
9.
Nein.
Woof. Now, remember, you guys can always give me bands to put on here if we all agree to it. Remember that. We always can put bands on here.
So Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, NSYNC.
You have to have a 2 vote out of 3 to get it.
No, wait, hold on.
You had your chance with Coheed. I don't want to hear it.
To be fair, it was agreed upon though by everybody
What?
for Coheed. Everybody agreed on
They were
Coheed.
already on the list.
They were
Right.
already-
So that was fair.
That's,
I don't see no Backstreet Boys in this thing.
No Backstreet Boys?
No.
They're not your greatest bands ever?
No. I must have missed
boy.
that one.
Yeah, it's tough.
Britney Spears. Who else is popular?
No.
You said you needed 90s stuff.
Not that 90s.
Different
Not
type of
that.
90s.
Not that. All right.
Different type of 90s.
Different horrible 90s I don't want to remember.
I mean, there's. Do you guys have those moments where you'll see like you'll go through like old CDs that you have, and you'll be like, oh wow, I haven't heard this in forever. Let me play it again, and you're like, how did I listen to this? It's so bad. I saw them in concert. I paid money for this. What was I thinking?
I remember picking up the Resident Evil soundtrack, thought it was a really good, and Freddy vs. Jason. And I was like, oh man, these series suck. Damn you, Borgay.
Oh, wow.
Now we're going
Yeah.
into the depths of hell.
Yep.
And
Okay, I
beyond.
write this down. I've never heard of this.
Oh, this is
Shh, I know.
Oh, okay.
You're just gonna let it happen to me.
Let it happen.
Let it happen.
Okay, what was that?
Ready.
DIMMU
You. Yep.
Uh-huh.
BORGIR. Okay, what are we doing here? What the fuck?
Okay.
There we go.
Damn
Jesus
you.
Christ on the board.
It's right
Was
here.
it the autocorrect kept?
So it's BORGIR.
I know, right?
What?
Damn you, Borg.
Jesus Christ. All right, we're gonna have to go to the. All right, let's see. 1, 2.
Right. So the next band would be Demu Borgay. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I know who they are, so.
Oh, I know who they are too. I can't.
Oh, years active 93, so this counts as a 90s band, right?
Sure.
Why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
We'll allow it.
I have 9 albums, yeah?
Yeah, it's 9 albums.
Oh, thank God. All right.
Not bad.
So I saw like 20 something on Spotify there, and I was like, oh God.
Wiki's giving me 9.
Yeah, I got 9.
Yeah. I got them all, so I already know who they are. I haven't listened to their new stuff yet, but I was like Armageddon, Death Cult, or Armageddon, Death Cult, or whatever album. That was like their big crowning achievement. No spoilers or anything.
That's called Armageddon.
Yeah, it's called Armageddon. And then you got Stormblast. That was kind of their calling card back in 93.
96, it says.
Sorry, 96. Sorry.
I feel like Puritanical Euphoric Misanthropia is not a bad album either.
Ooh, I haven't been down the Demu Borgay route in a very long time. So
Yeah, it'll be something.
It'll be an adventure for me. I am
Yes.
scared.
You should be.
You should be. Yep, you should be.
All right, guys.
And
Everybody
we're
say bye
gonna
to the internet.
screen
Bye, Internet.
later, internet.
Bye, internet.